Welcome everyone. It is a beautiful Sunday, kind of overcast but nice. It feels like spring even though it is right at the end of December, so it's actually just the beginning of winter. So we're gonna do a winter update today. We're gonna walk around the farm, look at how things are. Some of the plans we had for this year worked out, some did not. If you notice in the background, we have a new roof. That's a major blessing. And that was completed 2 days ago. So the roof is on. I'm working on a soffit today so that when the cold snap happens tomorrow, we don't freeze our tails off. The goats, here's the goats. Hi guys. Hi. Hi, Thomas. Hi, Thomas. Hi, Fern. George, are we going to be friendly today, George? Not today, George? Oh, Fern, you want some more? More love? Okay. Oh, yeah. It feels pretty good, doesn't it, Fern? Pretty good, pretty good. What is it, Blackie? What is it? Oh dear. What are you doing? Chasing everybody off, Fern? Hi, little guy. Oh, little guy, you look like you've been in some fights today. You okay? You doing all right? You doing all right? Hi, Gray. So the goats are doing well. They're kind of fat because it's winter. It's cold. They like to be a little extra chunky in the winter. I have to get them some hay. We're using 4-wire electric fence. Everything below 3 feet. So in a few spots it's 3-wire, but it keeps them in, and it is very hot electric wire. We're feeding them hay from the back field. Oh my goodness. So pathetic. Oh, act like you haven't eaten in weeks. Yeah. Oh, we're getting jumpy. Getting jumpy. Everybody's excited about new hay. This is not the best hay. I say that because it's got a little bit of, it got moisture on it after I had stacked it. And so there's a few patches of mold, which is not good. But it's all I got. And if you look at it, you can see that there's weeds in it. And see, this is the moldy stuff. I don't really want them eating the moldy stuff. This end of it got a little moist. The rest of it's nice and dry and relatively good, but these guys are waiting for me to give them a little bit, move it away from Fern. Fern protects the food, so I have to take sections, move it where they can get to it. So that's the goats. The goats. They have kept this area cleared out As you can tell, everything's kind of eaten back. So we've been feeding hay for a while. The garden, they've left only what they don't like in the garden. So like this would be great for sheep maybe, but they don't like this stuff. They've kept all the weeds back except for these little, whatever this kind is, they haven't eaten it. And they have cut back my raspberries to the fence. These are raspberries here. And all those ones back there. And the privet, they keep it trimmed, but not all the way. They want it to survive, so. We have not moved this shelter out of the garden. It needs to move. They don't ever use it anymore at night. They have decided that underneath the wood shop is much nicer. All this is cut back. I need to really build them a new shelter or expand the one I already built so that they have a insulated, warm, out of the weather spot. But for now that's not going to happen, so that'll have to be for later. Let's see, about a month ago the utility company came. I called, they had scheduled to come sometime this year, and I said, there's something on the lines. So they came and helped clear this line right here. There used to be trees all up, basically touching the line or almost. So about a month ago they dropped all these trees. Prior to them dropping the trees, this area was clear. The goats and I had cleared all this up. The brush was all burned in a pile. I mean, we had nothing left. It was just basically some small little plants and the trees. But when they dropped this, it made a giant mess, and I just haven't had a chance to get in here and clean it, stack it, burn it, take the wood out, cut firewood. It's one of those great things. Like, I'm grateful to the utility company because they came and they cut these trees down that were a problem. They were all dead on the tops. So it's really good that they did it, but I just haven't had time with the roof build going on to come back and clean up. So that'll be sometime this spring. Hopefully I can get in here and get this back to how it was before. So that's the update on this area. The goats have really done a great job, but it doesn't look like it because the trees are down. Here's the bus. Not that the bus is part of the tour, but we have been trying to keep it dry in here. I keep a dehumidifier in here all the time. We have not made any major trips, mainly because we're focusing more on farming, but also because my daughter came home from college, flew home instead of us going out to get her in the bus. We were going to take a bus trip in December out west, but that didn't happen. So she came here, we got a new roof. So the bus has been sitting a lot, just trying to keep it dry. Our hatches still leak. It's one of those things, I'll have to try a different kind of caulk because the top hatches still leak a bit. So I have to keep it dehumidified so when there is a leak, it dries up quick. Anyway, that's the bus. Very grateful for our bus. It is ready to go, aside for, maybe an oil change and a cleanup. It's a warm day, so they're actually flying today. I don't actually keep bees on these stands. These guys moved in on their own. They swarmed out of one of the hives down in the valley here and went in there. And this fall I didn't make that a priority, so I never moved them. So you have to move them away from the farm at least 2 miles, maybe more. And then you can move them back onto the farm and put them where you want. But you just can't move them from one spot on the farm to another or they'll all try to go back to where the hive was, and that's no good. Here's the other hives. This is supposedly the largest hive. I don't know that they look the strongest right now. It's about 65 degrees out here, and for January 29, that's pretty warm. December 29. They're working. Sometimes the smaller hives actually seem more active in the winter. Maybe because they don't have the same stores as the others. Let's see if these guys are even alive. This hive may be dead. One quick way to find out. Yeah, that's a dead out hive. But of the ones we got, that's so far the only one that's dead, which is almost shocking. We normally lose about 25 to 50% every year in the winter. Of course, generally they die in February, March. Very active hive. I got buzzed. That was fun. Stand in front of an entrance long enough. That's actually one of the more aggressive hives too, so that doesn't surprise me. But he didn't sting me. She didn't sting me. So we have planted apples in the valley, out to the left here, all the way across. These were planted either this year or last year, so just 2 years old. This one's actually doing really well. This is higher than I can reach. So I pulled the deer screen off of it. This one's also doing very well. That was quite a bit higher than I can reach. The one I put in here died. I'm not going to go through all 50 of them, but I've planted this spot twice now. And the first time I planted it, the rootstock survived, but then I moved the rootstock and replaced it. And this one hasn't died. I think the rootstock's alive, but the top has. So I'll have to replant that one in spring. So the plan is to get sheep in under these trees. I would put cows, but cows I think would actually be a little too high for my semi-dwarf trees, especially the young ones. So maybe sheep for this year. Same thing for the vineyard. I like to get sheep in around the vineyard too, just to keep the grasses down. So apples all through the valley here, about 25, 30 I put in. Last year and a half I've been working on this area off and on. I got the fence back up and working. Let's see if it's still working. Yes, it says it is still okay. Not because of good care, but just because those things are hard to kill. So this is the area we have our plums and pears in. Plums and pears. It is kind of a low area, so it's not great growing area. I've mounded some of them, especially on the bottom half. So I planted this out 2 winters ago. All of these trees went in, and we only had about 40% take. So 60% died back to rootstock. So I had to redo them this last winter, regraft them. And we'll see. I'm gonna come through, clear all this brush back, weed eat around every tree, double check every tree, make sure they're good and alive and grafted. And I'll regraft the ones that aren't. I actually had a bonus. This little guy here, this is a Bradford pear, or some people call them Collier pears. It's a little tiny tree coming up, and then I grafted a different pear variety on top. So that's my graft right there. This one took, there was one just outside the fence, and a deer knocked it over. It was right out there. A deer knocked the top off before it could really take. He knocked the scion. I never know how to say that word. I think it's scion off, and so it didn't work out. I actually did a double graft on this one. Both of my grafts on this one took. So I will get to pick one this year to keep as the main, the only. Also limited all the trees to what I thought were pecans, and I confirmed most of these are pecans except for 2 or 3. So we'll drop those eventually. But that was 2 years ago, and this last winter some, re-grafting for this area. And this is going to be a cow area, cow horse area. This tree, which I've had for 10 years probably, I did some aggressive straightening. As you can tell, I was trying to get the tree to stand up straight, and it didn't like it. Most of the tree is dead. This is all dead. There's a little bit of live growth down, these, of course that's rootstock, but this is alive. This one branch is still good off the entire tree. Straightening stress? I didn't overly prune it. It was not aggressively pruned, just bent a bit. Maybe I snapped a root underground and didn't know it. I don't know, but the whole thing has really come back. So I'm probably going to have to take cuttings just to save this variety if this tree dies all the way next year. The rest of the pears have done great. I mean, we had the best pear harvest ever this year. This one, that one, and the furthest one down there. All 3 of these trees produced great this year. This is my terrible looking water for the cows. Of course, I don't have cows yet, so I haven't fixed it. I've got a drain for it, I just haven't put it in. So that's, yeah, it's a frog pond right now. But the plan is to get this all, once we actually go for the cow, I will spend a day or two just polishing up all the little projects around the cow pasture here. Fence is hot, and that's my not so awesome rigging there. Got my gate in so I can let the cow in this way, or I can put the cow, I can set up a fence and let it out the front. This is going to be the housing for the cows. Yeah, and maybe the horse too. I don't know. It's a little small for horses, not depth-wise, but width-wise. That's what I've read online. You read stuff online, you're like, oh yeah, no, I gotta do this or I gotta do that. Sometimes I put too much stock in what people say online. There you go. Little nugget of truth. My cherries got pretty dried out this fall. Then I started watering them, and then they came back. They sent out little leaves and actually blossomed. A few of these branches blossomed, which is kind of weird. Fall blossom. But it was nice to see that I hadn't killed them. They sprouted some leaves, and now they're going dormant again. This tree we salvaged. It was riddled with this fungus infection stuff, this stuff here. It was all over the tree. And 2 years ago, I really tore it up. I cut it way back. As you can tell, I mean, this whole branch disappeared basically. And I scraped this with a saw way back and then painted. I did aggressive cleaning and painting last year. And wow, it thinks it's spring. Look at that. It's actually blossoming. But you get a warm snap. And of course, we're in December. We've had really cold, and now we're having this warm snap. It's been a week at least of warm. And the tree thinks it's spring, and it's going to be 30 for the high in 2 days. 30 degrees Fahrenheit, which is freezing. So, Tennessee weather. There you go. The pears tend to delay better. They don't go quite so early. This is our pear tree. This one produced so well this year. It was awesome. This is our live fence that's laying on the ground. So how effective is my live fence? Probably not very effective, seeing that it's laying on the ground. If I had animals in here, this would be an emergency. I'd need to stop videoing and just, run around and fix everything. But so far, no animals. This is going to be our corner with a gate. So these are set in concrete. I did that last spring? I don't know. So about 3 weeks ago, 2.5 weeks ago, when the roofers had just started, the guy coming to drop off the dumpsters for the roof clear, debris and stuff, he accidentally ran over my trees. The trees he ran over in my grow area. This is one that's actually grafted. Anyway, these are cherry trees. They were in my grow box. He nicked them with his truck and trailer, pushed them over. I salvaged the ones I could. I lost a few. The graft broke when he ran over them. So, and some of them, like this one, did not actually have a graft on it. This spring, when I grafted most of them, I didn't have enough scion wood to graft. So this is just rootstock. Mazzard rootstock. So I put them out where they need to be. This is 3 or 4 of them all in one spot. None of these have grafts. Their grafts failed. And this is one of those, that one might make it. This one, probably not. That one's probably not going to make it either. But, when you're probably going to lose them anyway, why not put 3 in one spot? And then if one of them takes off, you can graft on that one, and you'll have a permanent location. Of all the spots I put cherries in, this is the worst. This one, I need to clear these trees around it. All the other spots, the trees have been cleared. So this one has a graft. The one to the left over here has a graft as well. Yeah, so we've been planting trees. Of course, some of these trees are 13 years old, 14. There's a few that are 14. I had purchased a bunch of rootstock, and it came kind of dry, and I didn't get it moist or move it out to a grow box quick enough. So I think I only had one survive, and I didn't even graft it because it looked so bad. So I had all this scion wood I had ordered to do these grafts, and nowhere to put it, nothing living to put it on. I grafted the few that I did have growing already, and then to save the wood I'd already purchased, the scions, I grafted them on this Bradford pear tree. So you can see these are my Scion woods. There's one that took. There's one here that took. Let's see. Do I have any more? I guess I think there's one more. Yeah, there's one down here that took. You know, there's one. There's one. Up top, we got several. There's one. That one took. That one did not. Oof. There's one that took. One that didn't. So certain varieties will, you know, they'll graft onto a random Bradford pear or Collier pear, depending, and I don't know what they are. I had extra, and so I grafted. See if it'll go. Maybe it'll work, maybe it won't, you know. And there's no harm, because you'd lose it anyway. I probably left 100 cuttings, you know, of my big trees, taking cuttings off of them. Yeah, I probably have 100 in my fridge from last year that I didn't use because I had ordered newer varieties that I didn't have. So I just left those in the fridge because I wanted to prioritize grafting the ones that were not available next year. You know, you've got one shot at it unless you buy them again. I've done a lot of work in the valley this year, this spring and also this fall. Fences and keeping the weeds back. I try to burn over here just to see if burning was better than, you know, mowing it. Jury's still out on that one. This one is older. As you can tell, it's probably been here 15 years, but it was not well cared for. I've been really lax down here in the valley with my trees. Most of my trees I planted 15 years ago, I lost to a brush fire that I started. So I only have this one. There's 3 up here and 1 down here. So I only had 4 out of like 30 that I had in the valley. So I replanted all the spots that I used to have trees in. And I also did something that I learned over the last, 15 years. Because this is a valley that floods and because moisture sits in the ground, I have mounded every new planting, at least to some degree. And even when planting them, I leave the rootstock up a little higher so that I can add soil and not cover my graft point. That's my strategy. I don't know how well it's going to work. Some of my new mounds, like you'll see this one, so we got cattails to the left, all down in here. It is moist all the time. And then I mound it up so that I could put a tree here. Will it work out long term? 10 years from now, will I be glad I planted in a swamp? I don't know. We'll see. I went to a plantation years ago. Plantation's the wrong word. A settlement, a farm, down in Okefenokee Swamp. And I was amazed. And swamp, I mean, they're true swamp. It's a true swamp there. Like, there's standing water all the time. 15 feet from the house. You're canoeing in that place. They put a road in later, but early on that house was canoed to. It was not a road. That kind of location, they're growing trees, they're growing fruit, they're planting crops, they're storing away for winter. It's amazing what you can pull off if you're willing to try. So I decided to try, and so I put a bunch of things out here and tried to mound them up. Here's another one. This one, the graft is still on. You can see there's a little dieback here in the back. I'll need to come through, this spring sometime and paint that. But it's still very much alive, so it's just a little injury there. So we'll tend to that. this spring. So that's the major work down here in the valley that I did last spring. A little bit of it the spring before. I did some mounding the spring before of some trees that I had planted 2 years ago. I've been trying to push into my trees a bit more and try to get them producing, get kind of managed, get it better managed. So we're down by the creek. We have lost several large old trees. You know, they'd been dead for a while. They finally fell over, so I'm gonna need to come in and cut some firewood, get them out of there, and burn. I have a pile over here that actually needs to burn, so put them on there. Same thing on this side. Got some dead out trees falling over. Makes good firewood. So a year ago when the power company sent in the cutters, they cut along the front fence. They actually got the front fence a little bit on the very front of our property. But one of the nice things, really appreciated, and I'll walk you out there, they widened this path under the power lines to our house. It's probably 40 feet wide, all the way up to the road. You know, a few branches hanging in, but no big deal. All the way to the creek right there. Very nice clearing. And my wife told me that she wanted the milling to not be in front of the house anymore. And I was like, you know what? We can do that. We can move the milling somewhere else. So when I saw this giant opening, I thought, you know, this would be a great place to do all our milling. And so I cut this path. It's about 15 feet wide. I'll need to cut 1 or 2 more trees. These 2 here. Leave black walnut, but yeah, so I'm gonna have him come in with his rig set up. We're gonna have him mill right here in the opening. And then I will use this slope to the left toward the road. Use the slope, put all my logs here. He'll park here, cut our stuff. I still haven't worked out where we're putting the cut wood, how we're gonna stack it and move it, but for now, this is the plan. I spent, I don't know, 4 or 5 days cutting this out, clearing it. I started burning this hackberry tree that's fallen. So this is a little burn pile from a few days back. But this is gonna turn into firewood. This is all nice and dry. So I can come in and get firewood from this and burn this pile at the same time. So that's out toward the road. No other major developments near the road. I intend to put the front fence up, but hasn't happened yet. I got to get in there while it's still winter so that I'm not fighting all the leaves. Beavers have not been a problem on the creek, which is huge. That's a big deal. Every winter they tend to start jamming up our creek, and I have to take care of a few of them. But so far this winter, they've been leaving it alone, so that's good. I got my screen in case they start. And then when the beavers want to start creating a beaver dam, they will put it all in front of there, and then you'll know you've got a beaver problem. But so far, they haven't been doing anything, so that's good. So we're back to the vineyard. Of course, I mentioned that I'm planning to put sheep in here, hopefully this next year, to keep the grass down under the vines. We have not finished the trellising process, just because I haven't had time, been busy with other things. My plan is to take this giant tree out of the vineyard, and also some of these, not the whole thing, but some of these to the left. And eventually I will take this one down as well. Right now it's got my cuttings on the bottom, so it's proving useful right now, which I like. But the goal is to eventually get this trellis with supports on the top, so we can run 3 wires across the top and replace all the wrong posts. These are like 8-footers, I think. I'm wanting to end up at a 6-foot fence, so these will have to come out. What to do? We cleared this tree a few years back. It's been fairly clear. I need to take a weed eater to it, or somebody. We've got a path to 3 Field. All our extra stuff that we've collected from 2 barns we took down. I mainly took down, but Jonathan helped. All the wood from those 2 barns is piled out here. Some of it stacked, along with the roofing. Most of it is pole barn material, but some of it is also other stuff. We've got all the roofing over here. This is all from the barns. This pile and that one. Today is beautiful, warm, nice, feels like spring. We have the materials, the leftover materials from the roof we put on the house just in the last 3 weeks. So here's the material that was questionable, a bit rotten. You know, it can be useful for some things, chicken coops and such, goat habitat. Here's the new material, the extra cut-offs and such, and some of the dimensional lumber there. So that's all the stuff that was left over after we were done building. We got roofing from my parents' place, roofing from their barn, leftover roofing from my wood shop that had a tree on it. And then over here we've got gutter materials, and those are just for, you know, chicken coops and goat barns and other things. You don't want water going everywhere. Anyway, it's just free material. And I didn't really want it scrapped, so I've got several builds I still need to work on. Anyway, we're in the backfield. There's the hay equipment. This is where we stored our hay because I don't have a hay barn yet. And this roofing is not done. I need to redo this project. But yeah, it's drier than sitting out in the weather. That's a blessing. And we moved all 4 chicken coops up the hill to try to benefit the soil up here, because this is where we're getting our hay from. Oh, I meant to show you where the chickens have been is the greenest. All the nutrients they've left behind and the feed. You can see the 4 lines are starting to develop. As we move forward across the fields, it will be distinct all summer. The best grasses will be coming off of these 4 lines of where the chicken coops have been. So I got up here to the chickens. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna feed them. And then I remembered that yesterday I wiped out the feed. So, have to go get those bags out of the car. The trunk of the car. These 2 guys survived the sickness that the other chicken in this coop had. You guys doing okay? Here's all the ones we hatched from eggs. Here. Hello. Let's see if we can get. Hi. Hello. Oh, we got one laying. Are you laying an egg? So this fall we hatched these chickens. I guess it was kind of July when we started. July, but they hatched in like August maybe September. We had 2 rounds, about 20 eggs total. We got 8 chickens. 1 died as a baby. Anyway, yeah, we had 8, now we got 7. They are fluffy. They all have fluffy feet. So a mix of different kinds. But because we hatched them from eggs, they were the newest chickens, so they have yet to lay an egg. Today might be the first day that we get eggs out of them. So we'll see. They're all kind of small. The females that we hatched are small little chickens. Here we go. Hi guys. These are our first ones here. We got 2 roosters in there. I'm eventually going to move one of them out into a different coop. Only 2 in that coop. The coop holds about 6, so they're kind of underpopulated right now. another coop with only 2 chickens. So they had a fellow chicken die recently. I bought antibiotic feed in case they started looking sick. The other chicken lost all its feathers. It was a weird sickness. I've never seen that particular variety of sickness before. So anyway, I have some antibiotic on hand if I need it. But they're one of the ones I'm watching to make sure they pull out. Yeah, they haven't actually been sick, but they have been acting weird. So I don't know. We'll see. Hi, rooster. These guys, there's 4 roosters in here. There's one. There's the other big one. And then there's 2 little roosters. That one. These guys, they have an automatic waterer until it freezes up tomorrow night. And this container that I keep cleaning and refilling, it's not a great solution. I need to rework their water. Their primary water, when it's not freezing, is fine. You know, then you have a automatic system and stuff. But this little container, it likes to fall over. It's not the best setup. So I'll have to rework their water setup here in the next few weeks. I need to get rid of some roosters out of here. Yeah, that's true. So that's the tour of the chickens. I fed them. Now we need to get the eggs. These are the ones that I think are about to start laying. They're the youngest of all the chickens. There's only 3 girls in there though, so might be time to send some boys packing. Ran for the hills when I opened that door. No eggs yet. No eggs in that one. These guys, the ones who had the sick chicken that died, they haven't laid eggs in about a month. But maybe they are now. Okay. I need to clear their coop out. It's time for them to have clean straw. Get a mask for that job. That's a job for a mask. Alright, here's these are olive eggers. That's what they're called. There's 2 eggs. These guys consistently give us 2 eggs now that they've started laying, so these guys, these girls. And then this crew up here, there are 5 girls. Yeah, 5 girls, 2 guys. And they're consistently giving us 3 eggs. 2 so far today. They gave me 3 yesterday. And they'll probably give me another one for later today. So 4 eggs in the pocket. That's good. They also need to clean out. This lane area needs a clean out. So that's our tour. I now have to figure out how to carry these 4 eggs without getting them broken in my pockets. What is it, Kitty? What is it, huh? Are you a wild cat? Oh yeah, so wild. Not tame at all. Yeah. Yeah, she's a good kitty. Uh-huh. So we are down here by the big tree. We've cut about a third of it back. These two limbs here and that bottom limb there. And we're burning a pile over here. And we're about half full, maybe a little more than half of the trailer. I've got 2 support personnel today who may or may not want to be on camera this afternoon. Anyway, here we go.